Alrighty, good people, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel. It is Dean once again here with the PEV point of view, doing some more tests on my Sherman L. So it is Sunday, September 29th, and a new firmware was just released for the veteran Sherman L. And I'm super excited to try it with you guys today. So I have not yet updated the firmware on this wheel. I figured I'd make a little video updating the firmware, showing you the process of how it's done, and then kind of comparing the two firmwares. So if we're going to be comparing the two firmwares, the first thing we need to do is to get some baseline stats. Now, I just want to say right up front, this is not going to be scientific. This is not going to be a super measured test. This is going to be me describing what I'm feeling in real time on the two different firmwares. And then maybe we'll take a look at the darkness bot graphs and see how many amps I was using, see how much wattage I was using, and maybe be able to compare it that way. So I'm here in my local parking lot. I got a nice wide open space, free of pedestrians except this car, and we are going to do some speed tests. So right now I just want to show you I am using the beta version of Darkness Bot, and I'm going to be tracking my PWM. I'm going to be tracking the power I use and probably the current, the amps. So like I said, I'm not going to push this wheel extremely crazily. I'm going to try and go to like 30 or 35 and then pull up and stop and see what the results are. So not gunning it, not trying to break any world records, just want to get some data on paper about some of the differences of the firmwares. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. And the only thing I want to do is make sure I have Darkness Bot up and running on my phone, and I do. It is up and responding to my wheel, so that's good. The lane is free of pedestrians. So let's go. And like I said, I'm not going crazy, not trying to break any records, just want to get some data going 0 to 35. So let's go. Okay, so that was not super fast, but I definitely felt the firmware acceleration dip in that. So let's give it a go again. I'm not gonna check the stats right away, but standing on the wheel the time. Let's go. Okay, I'm definitely not even getting up to 35, and it feels like I'm scared to push the wheel for some reason. But anyway, feels okay. Let's do it one more time. Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second, go. Okay, so that one was to 30. Let's see if I can get to 35 real quick and then keep going. There we go. Okay, so I did a few back and forths. Felt the wheel dip a little bit due to my 65% pedal firmness and my 15% acceleration assist. So let's check some of the graphs. Let's look at the currents. Okay, so in terms of power wattage, I'm not sure how useful this information is, but the very first run, which was about to 35 miles per hour, I used 2,400 watts. The second one, I used about 2,000 watts. The third, I used about 2,500 watts. So I'm not sure exactly how that relates to a higher phase amp. And so let's look at this. Let me zoom in a lot. Zoom in a whole bunch, scroll over. Okay, so we see a couple different runs. That's interesting. 50 amps on the first one. 43 amps on the second. Looks like around 30 on the third, 35 on the third, 36 on the third, and then 48 amps on the fourth. So like I said, I'm not sure how this really relates to having a higher total available phase amps of 330 versus 300, but just wanted to get some data. So now I'm going to update the wheel and do some same tests and see if anything changes. And I'm not sure if it will, but I'll be able to describe the ride feel in real time. So, all right, let's get that updated. All right, so to update the firmware on your veteran Sherman L, what you're gonna do is put the wheel on the kickstand, as you can see here. You're gonna turn the power on. Then you're gonna come over into the Leatt app. You see that it's now connected. So you're gonna click top right corner, firmware update. Make sure you're in the correct angle on the kickstand. Then you're gonna hit check upgrade. All right, so let's take a look and read and see what this upgrade does. I can't see anything here, so I'll have in the description or on the screen a better translation of what this is saying. So let's go ahead and click upgrade now. Okay, 1%, 0%, 1%. 2%. Okay, guys. So it looks like the wheel is updating. You got some weird stuff going on the screen right there. I don't know what that is. But anyway, the wheel is updating. I'm at 4%, 5%. The only thing you need to be mindful of when updating your wheel is to not let your phone time out. You're right. You don't want to let it log off. You don't want to let it lock. You want to keep the screen open and active in the window for the duration of the update. And if anybody knows what these numbers mean while you're updating, definitely leave it in the comment, because this is the first time I've seen these numbers come across. So interesting. But yeah, this is the update in progress. Okay, so the firmware is slowly but surely finishing up. You got 94%, and I think I found out what the numbers mean. So I think it's just counting up to 100 or 100,000. I think this is just a more precise percentage, because you got 97 right here, and it's usually like a percent or two ahead, but it updates relatively close. So I think this is supposed to be like a percentage, but I don't know. Here we go. 99%, restarting the wheel. Boom. Upgrade success. All right. So let's put the phone away. Make sure we're still on darkness spot. Okay. And I want to test a few things out. Okay, so the first thing I want to test is, I heard that now you can change the acceleration assist from the Leatt app. So let's see if that's true. I don't see that has changed. Let me close the app, open the app. Okay, so that's not true. I thought that you'd be able to change the acceleration assist from your phone now, but apparently that's inaccurate. So let's get this extended and then show you how I do this. Okay, so it's on 65% where I left it. No pedal angle assist like I left it. Tilt backs all are unaffected. High speed mode is on. 75, yes, volume. Okay, so acceleration assist has been moved to 0. Let's oh shit. Let's turn it back on to get to the same settings that I was at previously. Okay, so you have to press it a bunch of times to turn it back on and confirm that you want it on. I'm not sure why that is, but you have to press it 5 times to even go from 0 to 5%. So with that, we are back to the same settings that we had before. So let's see and feel the wheel, see if anything feels different. So I'm going to do the similar thing. I'm going to see if I can push it to 30 or 35. Very unscientific, and then see how it feels and what the graphs say. Okay, so right away, very first run, I noticed the dip felt very different than the normal firmware acceleration dip. So the last time I did the first few runs, the firmware acceleration dip, it kind of just kept on going. But this time on this very first run, I felt like it hit the position it was meant to stay at, and it stayed at that position, which is a huge upgrade. So let's do it again and see if that's accurate. Yes, okay. So the last few times I did this, I felt like the wheel just kept dipping. And now I feel like it stays at its dip. And that's exactly what I wanted from the wheel. So that's a huge upgrade right off the bat. Ooh. Okay, okay. I'm really happy with this upgrade already. I'm not sure if it'll affect top speed, but as far as limiting the acceleration assist dip, it definitely feels like it's doing a little bit of that. Let's give it a nice rolling start. Ah, fuck, that was bad. Yep. Yeah, like my feet are not dipping at all. I'm staying exactly where I am. That is huge. I'm trying to think of other words I can use to describe it, but it really is just that. Before, the wheel continued to dip a little bit, and now I feel like it dips to a spot and stays there. And my pedals are still hard. They're still hard. They're not moving. I'm going 30, 33, I don't know. But okay. Let's see what other tests we can do. Maybe we can do some curb bonks or something. There is a skate park over here, but there is a bunch of families and children over there, and I don't want to disturb them with my high-powered gear. So let's go off some curbs a few times. I felt fine. Taking the grass. Oh yeah, okay. Yes, yes. Okay. That is nice. I really like that. I really like that. So now I'm kind of curious. I want to see what happens if I turn off acceleration assist altogether and see if it feels even more powerful. Okay, so no more firmware acceleration assist. Let's see how the wheel feels now. Still a little sluggish, I will say, but there is none of that dip. Okay, so I definitely prefer the feeling of riding with the assist on as opposed to with it off. So let's turn it back on and try a little bit higher level. I had it at 15 before, but let's see if we can, 5. Let's try 35. Okay, so 35 still has some of that trampoline springiness to it. So I'm gonna keep it at 15, but still overall, big improvement for firmware acceleration assist. And I apologize, this hasn't been more scientific. I've literally just been going through a parking lot. So thanks for watching. But this is what it's been like to own this L, right? I really need to lock in my settings and figure everything out to ride to the best of my ability. And for right now, it's looking like that is going to be 15 assists for me. Fuck, I missed it. Yep. Yep. Alrighty guys, I just spent the last 30 minutes or so playing around with different settings. And I gotta say, in review of the new firmware update, I gotta say I really like the firmware update. So in terms of acceleration assist, the feeling is that the wheel does not continue to dip anymore. On the previous firmware, when you would be pushing at high speeds, the wheel would continuously keep pushing forward and you'd have more and more weight on the front of your wheel. Now it feels like the pedals hit the certain desired lean angle that they're meant to or that you've set, and they stay there, which is super, super nice and makes me feel a lot more safe on this wheel. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign out here and just say that for now, I would recommend updating to the new firmware and potentially trying out acceleration assist once again. I'm still not going to be running it at 100%, although I might test it out at a 100% a little bit in the future. But for now, 15% acceleration assist, 65% pedal firmness, and a 0-degree tilt feels really good on the wheel. So I'll go ahead and sign off and say thanks so much for taking time to view life from the PEV point of view. Make sure you keep your firmware updated and stay safe out on the roads. All right, guys, have a good night. You want to talk about how you feel about the firmware and the links? Like, did it change anything for you?
I feel like it didn't really change anything. But see, also, I think part of my problem is I changed my stiffness from 40 to 45%. Like the day before I updated it.
Yeah.
So I was still getting used to that. So I don't know if it's that or if it really does feel like it has more powers, more stiffness. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. I'm not gonna lie, it feels better. But I don't know if it's because I changed it or the update.
Yeah. When I was just testing mine a few minutes ago, I was trying to like keep it on the same settings before and after, and I feel like it felt better. So I'm liking it. Way smoother. There you go.
I'm not struggling like doing this. I'm not doing this the entire
Yeah,
time
yeah.
I'm riding anymore.
That's what I was saying. I was saying before,
How do you do that?
it keeps on dipping.
Pedals keep moving.
Pedals keep dipping and you just have more and more weight on the front of your wheel, but now it stops at a certain point and it just holds you there, which is what I prefer.
So like every time you hit a little dip or every time you go up a hill or down a hill or...
Oh, you're on strong.
80% I think.
80%?
Yeah.
Okay. I think. Do you have any pedal assist? Well,
But yeah, good positive reviews.
Okay.
And it